Plague Doctor Guide. Let's do a build for a Plague Doctor. First of all, what is the Plague Doctor? It's a support, healer, she can debuff enemies, blind them, shuffle them, and of course, she's got a lot of damage over time. Best to be played on position number 4, number 3, and number 2. You should avoid playing on position number 1 with a Plague Doctor. Plague Doctor comes in 3 different subclasses: Alchemist, Surgeon, and Physician. Or better to say, damage over time build, melee build, healer, and crowd control Plague Doctor. Noxious Blast, first skill from the Plague Doctor, classic damage over time, insane damage over time, covers position 1 and 2, can be played from positions 4, 3, and 2. It's only valid on Alchemist subclass and no one else. Second skill would be Blinding Gas. Blinding Gas is a debuff on enemies which can daze them, combo them, and blind them. Extremely useful skill because it covers position 3 and 4 on enemies. Best to be played on a Physician. Also, all other classes, both Alchemist and Surgeon, can use this one, but definitely best on a Physician subclass. Incision, basic melee attack for the Plague Doctor. It's extremely valid on Surgeon, because Surgeon, if it says Surgeon here instead of the Alchemist, Surgeon gives 100% more damage to this skill, and of course it can also be played on a Physician, but Surgeon is the one that profits out the most out of the Incision. Battlefield Medicine. This is a classic heal that's gonna work when you're low on HP, when your characters are low on HP, or if they have Bleed, Blight, and Burn, so you can remove it. Battlefield Medicine is valid on all 3 subclasses: Alchemist, Surgeon, and Physician. Ounce of Prevention. Buff. AoE team buff. When to use it? Only on a Physician. Why? Because Ounce of Prevention gives 15% stress resist to the entire team. Other than that, it's completely useless, especially on Alchemist and Surgeon subclasses, so only use this one on a Physician. Plague Grenade, one of my favorite skills for the Plague Doctor. AoE, position number 3 and 4, Blight damage. Extremely good on the Alchemist and no one else. Only on Alchemist. Emboldening Vapours. This is a buff on your allies. Once upgraded, it can also give speed. This one is only valid on a Physician and no other subclass. Disorienting Blast. This can shuffle enemies, it can stun them if they're under combo, it can reduce their damage, and it can daze them. Disorienting Blast is only valid on a Physician, because Disorienting Blast as a Physician, when it says Physician here instead of Alchemist, Disorienting Blast can also make enemies vulnerable in addition to all of these other debuffs, so play it only on a Physician. Indiscriminate Science, huge heal, depends on how many positive and negative tokens your team have, or better to say, a character in your team has. Okay, it can heal for a lot, especially if they got a lot of negative and positive tokens. Once upgraded, it's gonna remove all negative tokens, and this skill is like a late game heal. Okay, during the first 2 maps, let's say, you should use Battlefield Medicine. After that, on a map 3 and for the final boss, you should switch on Indiscriminate Science. This skill is valid on Alchemist, Surgeon, and Physician. Best on a Surgeon. Surgeon profits the most out of Indiscriminate Science. Cause of Death. This one is only valid on the Alchemist and no one else. What it does, instead of waiting for damage over time from round to round, you can pop all of that accumulation of Bleed, Plague, and Burn, but it requires a specific team also, so your allies can deal burn damage, bleed, blight. So who goes here with a Plague Doctor when you play him as an Alchemist? It should be Runaway, Jester, Hellion, the Grave Robber, all of those that can actually deal damage over time, and then it can pop for a hilarious amount of damage in only 1 round. Again, this spell is only valid on the Alchemist. Magnesium Rain, one of my favorite skills in the game, to be honest. Why? For multiple reasons. Not only that it burns AoE from position number 1 to position number 4 in enemy ranks, it also clears corpses, and what it does also, it removes enemies' tokens. It can remove dodge, easy remove AoE dodge on enemies. it can remove their armor. It's an extremely useful skill. I would say that this one is valid on all three subclasses for the Plague Doctor: Alchemist, Surgeon, and Physician. Extremely good spell. So how do we play Alchemist subclass for the Plague Doctor? We're gonna need Noxious Blast, that's a good opener. Blight enemies non-stop, it can stack, damage is hilarious once upgraded, again only valid with Alchemist. Blinding Gas, so you can control the backline for enemies. You should usually remain on position number 4 when playing as an Alchemist. Battlefield Medicine, so you can clear, bleed, blight and burn from your allies and heal them. Plague Grenade, of course, to reach with your blight on the last 2 lines for enemies. And of course, this OP freaking Magnesium Rain. There is nothing better than it. This spell is just absolutely amazing on the Alchemist. Later on, you might want to switch Battlefield Medicine on map 3 and 4 for Indiscriminate Science. So first 2 map you play with the Battlefield Medicine and then you switch for this. For the final boss of each chapter, you would like to switch both, okay, these, and keep those healings up. So you play without Magnesium Rain and you play with healing and blight damage for the Alchemist, but only for the final boss. Other than that, this is the build that you want to take from the start. If it says Surgeon here instead of the Alchemist, this is the build you want to play with. You're gonna rely a lot on her base attack, Incision, so you can deal damage and bleed enemies, 100% more damage on melee skills, and this is the only melee skill in the game for the Plague Doctor. You're gonna heal your allies a bit. With both of this Indiscriminate Science and Battlefield Medicine, you're gonna burn enemies, AoE, remove dodge, remove armor, clear corpses, and of course you're gonna be able to blind last line for enemies. You should play on position number 3. Surgeon is basically a melee healer, and that's about it. And she heals with Battlefield Medicine and Indiscriminate Science. Now, if it says Physician here instead of the Alchemist, this is a full freaking support Plague Doctor with basically 0 damage. The only damage comes from the Magnesium Rain, but that's also here to clear dodge and clear corpses from enemies. How do we play? We usually open up with Ounce of Prevention, because Ounce of Prevention will also, as a Physician subclass, give 15% stress resist to the entire team. So this is the opener. You play from position number 4, of course. Emboldening Vapours, then you're gonna boost those that deal a lot of damage, like Hellion or Leper, things like that, you know. Basically those that have huge damage, that's when you want to use Emboldening Vapours on. Disorienting Blast, you can use it to stun enemies if they're under combo or daze them and delay their turn. Also, Disorienting Blast will make enemies vulnerable as a Physician subclass. Of course, you have a small heal to clear burn, bleed, and blight from your allies. And basically that's it about the Physician. Physician, I would recommend Physician only to the people that have like 30, 40 plus hours in a game, because it's a very tricky class to play with 0 damage, full support. You really need to know what you're doing if you decide to go with a Physician. I would say that you stick with Alchemist and Surgeon when you are learning how to play this game. Now, are hero shrines important for the Plague Doctor? Extremely important. You should rush down those hero shrines and learn all the skills available, because really only then you'll be able to play all of its subclasses the right way. How do we play the Plague Doctor? So how do we play the Plague Doctor? You usually want to open up with Noxious Blast if enemies are up front. If not, then you want to reach number 3 and 4 positions with Blinding Gas if they're rough to kill, or immediately with a Plague Grenade. If enemies have a lot of tokens, dodge, armor, and so on, you want to open up with Magnesium Rain. That would be for the Alchemist. If you play as a Surgeon, you usually want to open up with Incision. If you play as a Physician, you would like to open up with the Ounce of Prevention. That's the entire difference when you play all 3 subclasses for the Plague Doctor. What are the good trinkets for the Plague Doctor? The first unique trinket for the Plague Doctor would be Storage Room Key. This one is only valid on a Physician. Ounce of Prevention gets even better. Not only now that it's gonna give stress resist, it also gonna give armor. AoE armor, 33% chance to happen. Emboldening Vapours, not only that they're gonna give attack now, damage, flat damage, they're also gonna give healing per round for 2 rounds, 33% chance to happen. The penalty is your battlefield medicine skills will heal for less. All in all, it's a good trade. Clarifying Carcanet would be only valuable on a Surgeon, because Surgeon is tanky and it deals damage with Incision attack, so only on a subclass of Surgeon with a Clarifying Carcanet. All other subclasses, Alchemist, Physician, they do not profit out of this. Now, Kitchen Knives, if you wanna crit non-stop as an Alchemist, this is the way to go. You're gonna Blight them on the first round, and then you're gonna crit them like crazy if you keep stacking up that Blight on them. Very good item on a Plague Doctor. Nautical Compass, absolutely amazing on all characters, including the Plague Doctor, no matter the subclass. One of the best items on a Plague Doctor would be Curing Koopa. Why? Very simple, you're gonna deal even more damage over time, and it can deal upgraded like 6. That's gonna be 9 in 2 rounds, you can stack up to 18 Blight. That's huge for 2 rounds. The next unique trinket for the Plague Doctor would be Early Experiment. This one is valid on Alchemist and Physician. Physician, if you wanna go with Disorienting Blast, so you can deal Blight with it. But on Alchemist, it's absolutely hilarious playing with Disorienting Blast if you can find the Spore Grenade item to equip. 66% damage dealt with Blight. That's gonna hurt a freaking lot. So this one on Alchemist is absolutely brutal. Celebrated Chalice. This one is great on the Surgeon, but it can also be put on the Alchemist and Physician subclasses. Galvanizing Goblet, absolutely amazing on the Alchemist. Enlightening Element, absolutely amazing on the Alchemist also, because now you can burn and blight at the same time. Fisherman's Line. I can't even explain how freaking well this works with a Plague Doctor. No matter if you have Fisherman's Net as an item equipped or a Scrap Grenade, you can AoE stun and you can AoE bleed enemies in addition to Blight that are already there on your skills. This thing is just freaking amazing on a Plague Doctor. Greater Protectorate, probably the best trinket for a healer, or better to say for a surgeon. It works in all other subclasses too, of course. Greater Gilded Mind, absolutely great on every character, including the Plague Doctor and all of its subclasses. More stress resist. Best works in a combination with Physician, because Physician gives 15 additional percent, so that would be 40% stress resist only from the Plague Doctor on teammates. Greater Sacrificial Host is very good on a Plague Doctor too, as well as Greater Anchoring Charm. Same can be said about Greater Heldrot, only this one is absolutely great on a Surgeon subclass and then on Alchemist and Physician, but Surgeon profits out of most out of it. Greater Cleansing Sensor, also good on a Plague Doctor, all subclasses. If you're gonna play as a Surgeon, Greater Bouncer's Belt is not a bad option for it. Greater Sharpness Charm is only good on a Surgeon. No other subclass of Plague Doctor can use this. Gnarly Knuckles, also good on a Surgeon. Greater Heartseeker, also only valid on a Surgeon. Greater Wolf's Blood, absolutely great on all classes, including all subclasses for the Plague Doctor. Same can be said about Greater Hit Shield. Now, what about low tier trinkets on the Plague Doctor? That depends on a subclass. If you play as a Surgeon here instead of the Alchemist, you search for flat damage, crit, stress resist. If you play as an Alchemist, then you don't care about crits and damage, you care about stacking that damage over time, so you can basically wear any trinket on the Alchemist. Same can be said about the Physician. The main stat that you want to do with those trinkets would be stress resist, and after that everything else. It doesn't really matter that much with low tier trinkets. Trinkets that give move resist are also good on the Alchemist. In items and respite, what we should give to the Plague Doctor once we reach the inn. Basically, food of course, to raise that maximum HP. All items that gonna boost relations are extremely good. If you're gonna play as a Surgeon, you're gonna need crit, damage, dodge. If not, if you're gonna play as an Alchemist or as a Physician, you just need dodge, stealth, armor, and that's about it. Mastery Trainer for the Plague Doctor. If we're gonna play as an Alchemist, The first spell that you wanna max out would be Noxious Blast or Plague Grenade. After that, you go for the Battlefield Medicine, Magnesium Rain, and of course, for the mega late game Indiscriminate Science. If you play as a Surgeon, the first spell that you wanna max out would be Incision. After that, it should be Battlefield Medicine and Indiscriminate Science. If you play as a Physician subclass for the Plague Doctor, you might consider going for Disorienting Blast first. Ounce of Prevention is of course pretty much worth the upgrade on a Physician, as well as Emboldening Vapours. Remember, as a Physician, your support. I gave you a build for a Physician and a support, you should max out those support spells. That will be it for the Plague Doctor. Again, very diverse class. Can be played as melee, can be played as damage over time, can be played as a full support, can clear corpses, it can deal blight damage, it can deal bleed damage, a lot of stress resist for your party. Very solid character. That will be it from the Plague Doctor. I thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.